Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More. We're back at the liquor store Mini Mart again because we've had some drama come up and we might have a problem with one of the tenants upstairs. So we'll talk about all of that, what's been going on, and we'll also show you the sales for the store, which have been very, very good. So it's not all bad. In fact, the store has been a great investment for me. It's been a ton of fun. I've got a great manager, Kathy, who's doing awesome. So the good by far outweighs the bad. But it is in a small town. It's in Pierce, Colorado. And in small towns, sometimes you get some drama and some different things going on. And when you run a business, you try to avoid that and, kind of be a neutral party. But that doesn't always happen. All right. So I bought this store in January of 2022, which is kind of crazy. I've owned it that long. The building was for sale with a liquor store, mini mart included. And it also had 3 apartments upstairs as well. So we've done quite a bit of work cleaning up the property, remodeled one of the apartments, and have added a ton of inventory for the store. Really tried to make it a great little place. And I think it is doing really good right now. So some of the drama came from our manager who ran for mayor and is the town mayor. And I think that anytime you bring politics into anything, it can bring drama and issues. And there was some of that. So I won't get into all the details and everything that's happened. But we did have someone complain on the local Facebook page about the store and another incident and how bad the store was. And what they were complaining about is they said a young kid I don't know how old they were, or a young man came in to get change for $100 bill. And they came in, didn't buy anything, just wanted us to change out a $100 bill. And I think there were 2 people there, the manager and one of the checkout people, and they said, oh, they're a little hesitant, okay. And the manager said, no, we can't cash a $100 bill unless you buy something. And they said, oh, okay. And so they went and bought something, got their change, and we thought the world was great. Or at least I wasn't there, but everyone at the store thought everything was fine. Well, this Facebook post came out and said, another incident at the store today, thought I would share it. A young man was visiting his grandparents and went to the store to try to get a $100 bill change. The lady behind the counter was very nice and said, sure, how would you like that? Then he heard a very mean voice, no, we are not a bank, you need to buy something, so he did. One more reason I will never buy anything in that store. When is the owner going to realize she's bad for business? So this person who made this post was not there, was not in the store, heard this story from someone else, and decided to post it. And they're obviously just looking for any reason they can to say something bad about the store. In fact, nobody complained except this person. The person got their money. And I had 3 different people texting me saying, you've got to check out the Facebook page. There's a lot of drama around the store. So that's how I saw about it. Went on there and I actually made a response kind of saying, hey, we try and, take care of everybody in the community. Complaints like this we look into and take serious. However, in this situation, I don't think anything wrong happened. And I want to support my staff as well as the community. And I did ask that person a couple of questions, and they never responded to me. And on the post, there were quite a few comments, and 90% of them were positive for the store and said how much the store had helped them and would get products and different things for them. So that was really good to see, and it probably just ended up being some free advertising for the store. Now, there were a couple people who agreed with this person, and like I said, there's going to be drama involving politics no matter what happens. So that wasn't unexpected. And then there are some people who complained about prices being high too. And I agree. The store does have kind of high prices, but anytime you've got a small store in a small town, we have to have higher prices than Walmart or a big grocery chain just because economies of scale. If you are Walmart and you can buy billions of dollars of goods a year, you get lower prices from your suppliers. Grocery stores get lower prices from their suppliers because they buy in bulk. Other liquor stores that are bigger than us are able to buy pallets, of beer that we simply can't buy because it will expire before we sell it. We don't have room for it. We can't hold that much inventory. So they're able to get lower prices. And because of that, they're able to charge lower. So I wish we could lower our prices. We actually have pretty good prices, though. We have lower prices in a lot of C stores and convenience stores, which is what really we're closer to than a grocery store. So I get the prices seem high, but there's a reason for that. And unfortunately, when we have our suppliers come, they aren't the big giant suppliers of grocery stores. They're the small convenience store suppliers, and our prices will be closer to that. Our staff is still amazing and will actually pick up things at stores that are cheaper than our suppliers. And even after selling them, we're still cheaper. So I understand that, but it is something that we can't control very much. And it is something, too, that I don't think a lot of people realize with inflation in the economy. And I'm not going off on an inflation rant here about how our prices are high. But a lot of people think that raising interest rates will lower prices or keep prices down. I believe the exact opposite because of my experience with this store, where the idea is, hey, you raise interest rates, demand drops, and prices will drop. If our demand drops, we can't lower prices. If we lowered prices and our demand drops, we'd actually have to pay more to our suppliers because we don't get any bulk deals that we get now, and we'd be making less revenue. We would go bankrupt. We could not stay open. We would have to raise prices if our demand drops and we lose our deals. This is the exact same concept with Walmart versus a small store. Walmart is able to charge less because they have more sales, more demand, whereas small stores have to charge more because they have less sales and less demand. So the idea that less demand lowers prices only holds true if you have a massive oversupply of goods and you have to get rid of them. If you're buying new goods, it's actually the opposite. So I have a lot of thoughts and talk and ideas on inflation in other videos, but just for this small store, that's an example of how higher rates actually increase prices if your goal is to drop demand. Now, let's talk about the apartment upstairs. This is the entrance to the apartments on the side of the building, and this video is from when we had just remodeled the biggest apartment, which is almost 1,600 square feet. It's huge. So this building used to be a bank when it was first built, and we think there was kind of like, I don't know if it was a boarding house, but like you could rent rooms on top. I think this big hallway went all the way around, and instead of having 3 apartments, there's just, probably 1 bathroom and a bunch of rooms all around. Well, at some point it's been remodeled, obviously, but this is the biggest apartment, and we remodeled it, added a bedroom, and really, really nice place. So we ended up renting it to a family. I think it was $1,500 a month. And, we checked their credit, of course, checked references, things like that. But from the get-go, we started having issues and problems. So they were late on rent a couple times, but they caught up. But then we had some complaints from other tenants up there because there's a kind of a 2-bedroom and then a 1-bedroom that is rented up there. And they said the apartment was smelling really bad. They're leaving trash in the hallways, like trash bags, not just a little bit of trash. And it just was not a good situation. So we'd send notices, let them know what was going on. And it'd get better, then it'd get worse. Well, we kept having issues, and so we decided not to renew their lease. We gave them 90 days notice, which I think is what you have to give in Colorado now on certain leases. We gave them notice. They said, we'd really like to stay. We're just like, we're sorry, but, there's just been too many issues. The store had complained, too, about the smell in some instances from trash and different things. So we decided, for the store's sake, the other tenant's sake, we would ask them to leave and not renew their lease. Now they said, okay, and that was about 2 months ago. Well, of course, I had a camper show up in the back of the property with no plates, and I'm like, great, I have a lot of camper issues. Well, it turns out it was these tenants, and they're moving stuff into the camper. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine, no issue there. Well, they're like, okay, we'll be out the end of this month, being May, and we'll give you the keys, everything should be fine. Okay, great. Well, they've not been communicating well, so we leave texts, we call them, they don't respond. We thought they were going to be out, we left the messages, they didn't say anything. Well, one of the tenants said, hey, they moved out. And we're like, okay. We tried calling them. They didn't respond. Finally, they sent a text back and we said, hey, when you're done, you need to drop us off keys, let us know. And they just said, okay. They didn't give us any details, any messages, anything at all. So we actually went to the apartment to see what was going on and see if they're gone. And they were still there. So obviously it's well past May now, and they haven't paid rent for this month yet. So we're kind of wondering if they think they're just going to be able to move out in the middle of the month and not pay rent for that month, or what's happening. We talked to the store, the employees at the store. They said that, they tried to get a U-Haul to move out a week ago, and they couldn't find any help, so they ended up using it. So they're trying to look for another U-Haul, and then they just decided to go out of the state for the weekend and hadn't moved anything. So they really hadn't moved out, and we could see kind of through the door a little bit that there was stuff everywhere. So I'm a little worried about what this unit looks like. We have had contractors and people in there to do some minor repairs. I think one of the sinks or toilet had backed up once, and they said it was pretty dirty. It wasn't like destroyed. They hadn't done any real damage, but it definitely was dirty and not kept up well. Another reason why we didn't renew their lease, because if you have someone not keeping a very dirty place, there's a chance it just gets worse and worse and not better. So as you can see, we had new carpet in there, new paint. So hopefully it's left in decent shape. Hopefully they will leave at some point, and if they don't, they keep paying rent. But I've got a gut feeling that we may have some issues here. Hopefully we don't have to do an eviction or anything like that, but we'll see how all this turns out. It'd just be nice if people would communicate and tell us what's going on and not just, not respond, because that makes it more difficult and makes us think the worst. Now, the other thing I've been thinking about too, as you can see, this apartment just keeps going and going. It has 2 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms, and then plus an office too, is can I split this up into 2 units somehow? And I actually have a floor plan. I've got a Insta360 camera I've been using for a lot of my car videos and different stuff. I can mount it on the outside. I used it for some of the laundromat videos, but it got pretty annoying. It can do floor plans for us. So we have a floor plan, and I'm just trying to figure out how I could make this 2 apartments instead of 1 without, moving a bunch of plumbing around or just completely gutting everything. Because if we had, say a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom, they would probably rent for $900 and $1,100, right? We could get $500 more a month in rent for this apartment, which could, if I do my math here, if I did, that could add $70,000 in value to the property. And I'm actually looking at refinancing some of my properties here. I think the refinance would probably go through before I get any of this done. But for the future, having 4 units might make more sense here too, because I don't know if, a family living above a store is ideal. We can't discriminate against families or tell families they can't rent it. But just the way the town is and having apartments above a business like this, I think a lot of times it works better if it's not a family, but, smaller units. So those are some things to think about, and we'll see how this goes. And of course, while I was there, I had very bad timing too, because we had some salesmen coming for, we use Clover POS systems, and it doesn't stand for the POS you might think it does, although at some points most POS systems reflect that. But they wanted to sell us on some different systems, and we're constantly bombarded by things like that. And they were there like an hour and a half with my manager. I left way before that. I'm just like, I gotta go. I don't have time for this. But they're trying to sell us on a system where the customer pays the credit card fees and not the store. So you pay more if you use a credit card versus cash. Things like that, to me, I think can get very confusing for the customers, and they think they might be getting ripped off. It isn't normal, and we already have some drama already. So I thought, no, we don't need to do something like that. We'll just keep it as it is, the status quo. And sales have been going well. The store's been doing very well, and we don't need to rock the boat and do anything drastically different. So speaking of sales, here is what they look like. So I made this graph to show 2022 versus 2023 versus 2024. And we opened in February of 2022, so that's why there's nothing before that. And you can kind of see the comparisons of how each year has done better. Now, I know some people always tell me it's inflation, that's what happened. Well, we did raise prices and change prices mostly in 2022, honestly, because a lot of the prices being charged by the previous owner were less than what they cost. So it was, there's a lot of work going into that. And most of inflation actually happened in 2021, the start of 2022. So once we got past that time period, prices have been much steadier. So we haven't had to raise prices very much the last year, year and a half. Some things have gone up, but not like when we first bought the store. So this is definitely more reflective of sales increasing and more people buying things, not our prices. And you can see 2024 has started off much, much better than 2023, which was decently better than 2022. And June and the end of May both broke sales records for the week. This is weekly sales. And we had over $24,000 in sales, which we've never had before. So really cool to see that. The store is doing very well, and I spend almost no time there. So it's been fantastic. And people might ask, well, why don't you look for more of them? It's a very unique situation in a small town. We're the only store in town. It'd be very tough to duplicate, but I'm not opposed to it if the right opportunity would come around. It's also difficult to find one where you have the real estate and apartments and everything like this. It's kind of like the perfect situation. So we're still doing great at the store, still having fun. We deal with the drama as best we can and try and, stay out of it if we can. And the apartment, we'll see how that goes. I don't have a good feeling about it, but sometimes I'm wrong. So hopefully in this case, I am wrong, and we'll have some wonderful news here in a week or two, and it's in perfect condition. But, of course, we'll show that. We'll have updates on all of our other businesses going on in real estate. Hope you stick around and love to hear what you think.